Hello there, welcome to my tarot video channel. Today I'm going to be reading for Leo for May 2020. Now in this time of COVID-19 there's a little bit of similarity in all the readings because for once we're all experiencing something similar to a degree. Although within that, of course, there are variations, but it is quite interesting how often certain cards come up, about looking within or, transition, change, endings, that type of thing. However, each is individual too. Excuse me, I have a little tickle in my throat today. Hope it doesn't mean anything. I don't think it does actually. I live in quite an isolated place and I don't go out, so I think it's just a tickle. Okay, so here we go. I use the Mythic Tarot, which is based on Greek mythology, which uses the four suits to each describe different aspects of life's journey. And I think, it's very resonant, as all mythology is, and the images are really powerful. So I've been using it for nearly 30 years for friends and family, but I've decided now to come out, as it were, and I'm sharing it on YouTube. So I hope that some of it will resonate with you. Well, firstly, we have here the Queen of Cups, which is in the significator position, which means it's you. Now, this is the card. The Journey of Cups is about the heart and the emotions. You can see water here. She's sitting with her feet in water. Now, in this deck, she's represented by Helen, the great beauty, the very womanly woman who started the great Trojan War. And it's really a card about, I think, if you're aware of these qualities in yourself, being, that sort of seductive, beautiful woman who can make her own choices. She chose Paris, even though it, created mayhem, when they went off to Troy together. However, it's also a card about looking into yourself to see. I think very often we get sort of a little bit trapped in roles, maybe maternal roles, caring roles, being a certain way. But actually, this is sort of a call to that, mysterious, sensual, lovely woman inside who is all woman. And I think very often we kind of override that in the practicalities of everyday life and, having to hold our end up as equals and, all that kind of stuff in the workplace and everything. And I think Helen's just reminding us that there's that other dimension to being a woman. And it may be something that's come to the fore with you during your lockdown with your partner, possibly. But if not, then it's certainly a reminder that, we all have that capacity to get in touch with that, really true womanly part of ourselves. And this card, although I think in some ways is the Queen of Cups, the King of Cups, right in the centre of the reading there. It could indicate that you and your partner have had a lovely old time being in love during this lockdown period. You've rediscovered each other. There's that symmetry there with the Queen and the King, both of the cups, ruling the emotions. However, the King doesn't have his feet in the water like the Queen did. And this is actually the card of the wounded healer. So it can mean that although this person loves to support their partner, loves to rescue them even, and has that sort of desire to care for others, in doing so, it's a bit of a sort of deflective activity, because in caring for others, they're sort of protecting themselves by not necessarily looking into their own wounds. I mean, it's a classic thing, healers want to heal others, but really they want to heal themselves as well. And really that's the primary thing. And so this card maybe, there seems to be with the Queen and the King, there's several levels to this. There is just the partnership level, the love level, you know, the getting on together level. And then it's the deeper level, which is questioning how you see yourselves, you know, how, I mean, it might not be that may not have a partner, in which case this could be all aspects of yourself, which is, as I mentioned with the Queen, you know, discovering that real woman in there, you know, behind the doer, the enabler, the getter, the mother, you know, or whatever. And here again, it's a bit similar. It's like putting all your energy into others to the detriment of yourself. So maybe in May, this is the time for you to realise that, or maybe it's something that you've come to realise over this lockdown period. I mean, we've all been gifted this amazing thing. I mean, obviously, it's a tremendously difficult time, but at the same time, it's a time of immense opportunity. I mean, when have we ever got time to actually, you know, look at ourselves, contemplate ourselves, discover new things about ourselves? So maybe that's a little indicator of that going on in your life. And I'm sorry about this tickle in my throat. It's not sinister. It's just a tickle. This is terrible, isn't it? Anyway, at the top of the reading, we have the card of death, which people always go, no. No, it's not about that. It's about, as you can imagine, endings and new beginnings. And I think that's absolutely true for all of us. I think this period of enforced isolation, lockdown, social distancing has thrown us back on our own resources a great deal. And I think a lot of people have been thinking about, well, actually, do I want to go back to how things were? Would I like to change something in my life? Would I like a new direction? Or, you know, perhaps even looking at relationships and saying, okay, well, maybe that reflects back on the two cups there in the centre of the reading. Maybe I haven't been truly myself, or I haven't been getting what I need from this relationship. So, you know, there's all those possibilities. I mean, obviously, this is general reading for Leo. Everyone's got slight variations. On which note, if you would like a personal reading, I'm available and very happy to do an online reading for you. So please do send me a message. But yeah, here we have the death card, and here's these little people going, oh, you know, I didn't want it to change, but, you know, in the face of the immutable power of change, there's not much we can do. And we've all felt that. I think we've all felt that vulnerability, that powerlessness, really, in the face of what appears to be a fate, you know. However, there is sun rising over the hills. There is new life coming. It's not forever. It's been an interesting period. It's been a very difficult period. I think obviously it's have lots of negative things about it. I mean, it's tragic, people who have been ill and losing their lives. That's really terrible. And the impact on the economy may take some major adjustment from us all. But I don't know about you, but I just feel that it was a transition and a change that was long overdue, because we couldn't really carry on as we were. I mean, the environment and the inequalities in life between the very rich and the very poor, you know, it's not sustainable. It's not the way forward. And so maybe this is a bit of a wake-up call to a brave new world for Leo and for all of us. This has come up in virtually all the card readings. Moving away from this influence, this is the god Apollo, represented by the sun, which of course is all Leo stuff. And really it's the card of using consciousness and, you know, the sort of masculine principle to solve problems, relate to life. You know, so it's been very, I mean, it also represents all the lovely things that go with the sun and Apollo, you know, the arts, music, all those lovely things. So that's something that, you know, you may have an interest in or have been enjoying. However, you know, it also, whether you're male or female, does represent, you know, not necessarily using all the subconscious stuff like in the cups cards, but, you know, that sort of clarity, that sort of very male Or traditionally, I know, yeah, I got all that, men and women are individuals and there's all these variations, but, traditionally there's this idea that the male has the thought processes. So, it may be something that you're moving away from, so it may be an indication in those cups cards that you need to investigate the emotional side of your life too. So that's a sort of influence that's kind of moving away. Now, coming up in the very near future, if it's not already happening, is this card of choice in, ostensibly it's in the suit of Pentacles, which is about material wealth, your job, your profession, your opportunities in life to create security and so on. And this is the card of making a choice between the security of staying put, going along with what you know and what's secure, or branching out with a new creative vision. And surprisingly, this card has also come up in an awful lot of readings. And I think we're possibly, many of us, going through this reassessment. Like, what we've been doing, has it fed us? Has it expressed us? Has it been something we really want to be doing in our life? I think this, facing our mortality, some of us, all of us in a way, there's a big shake-up. It's like, hang on a minute, what have I been doing? Maybe I should change. But of course, with all change, there's an element of risk, because we really would perhaps prefer to go back to where we were, where we felt relatively secure. Although, since all the financial problems since 2008, I don't think any of us have felt totally secure. But unless you're very, very, very rich and have benefited hugely from it, no names being mentioned. However, so this is something that will, I think, when we start to come out of lockdown in May. By the way, I've done 2 readings on COVID-19. One was the first response, and then as I was working through these various astrological sign readings, it became apparent that I needed to do one for COVID-19 in May, because I kept saying, well, don't really know, where we're going to be with it in May, so I thought I'd better do that. And the indications were that there will be a relief. We will come down out of lockdown, but it's not the end of the story yet, but there's definitely an improvement. So in that period, it might be the time when we're like, shall I go for it, or shall I go back to what I was doing? So that's a card of choice. It may be a choice in relationship, but more usually it's to do with how you earn your living. And this is quite interesting, because this is at the bottom of the reading, and again it echoes what I've just been saying about the Seven of Pentacles and choice. This is the cave of security. The Journey of the Wands is about creativity, new directions, stepping out of the cave with a new vision, to move forward on journey of discovery. In this mythic tarot pack, this is actually the journey of Jason to find the Golden Fleece. And the Six of Wands, where he finds the Golden Fleece, was the card that came up in the centre of the COVID-19 May reading, which is he's achieved his goal, but then he has to journey back. So, it's like a halfway house, but an initial victory. Now, that's by the by. But here for Leo, and again, I hate to say this, but this card has come up a lot. And I'm shuffling as well as I can. So really, I think for all of us, and particularly for you, there's this feeling of, do I stay in the cave, or do I step out with my creative idea and passion? Only you know. Okay, so this is the card of Justice, ruled by Athena, goddess of wisdom. And it's also, she's holding a sword, which represents using thought processes and the mind and discrimination to make a decision. So I think going back to this idea of, is there a new change of direction? What do you want to do? It's a matter, again, I keep going on about this. This card keeps coming up. I feel that obviously your heart wants to move you in a certain direction, and then perhaps, you know, you want to stay, you know, you don't know what to do. So I think it's a matter really of sitting down and using your head. So use discrimination, perhaps write lists, pros and cons, what's achievable, what's not achievable, and then it gives a firm grounding to any impulses that you may have felt throughout this period where you feel maybe you want to do something new. And that, you know, using your head is a way to move forward safely with that feeling. This is how others see you. This is a pause on the Journey of Cups. It's a card of nostalgia, really, of looking back and going, okay, that's then and this is now. It's not an unhappy card, it's just a card of acceptance of a situation. It may be a situation on the journey of love, and others might be looking at you thinking, you know, you've had a few issues there, and now you've come to the point where it's like, okay, it is what it is. And as I say, maybe you're aware of this, maybe you're not. It's how others see you. Hopes and fears. Great card. The uprushing of a big creative idea. Not necessarily completely differentiated yet, but that desire is there, that force is there. This is Zeus, who was the motivating force for setting Jason off on his quest for the Golden Fleece, as in here, where the creative idea comes up. So I think, you know, there's a big hope. There's a big hope in you. I wouldn't say this is a fear, unless it's pushing you to move away from security, and that's engendering some fear. But, you know, there is a divine spark in change when you follow your heart. Staying with security certainly has its benefits, and I would never decry them. I myself made a creative decision long ago which made my life very difficult. But I couldn't have done otherwise. I couldn't have stayed in the secure cave, because then I'd have always wondered. So I don't know, it's one of those decisions that only you can make, and I think that definitely, you know, bring your head in as well as your heart. You know, don't take risks, be sensible about it, but, you know, if you can, follow your heart. At the top of the reading, this is probably a reaction, and this has also come up a few times. It's the Four of Pentacles, which is the card of trying to hang on to what you've got. It's sometimes called the miser card, but I think that's actually not appropriate in this particular circumstance. I think we've all probably had to shake up financially, and, you know, it's a natural human reaction to try and hold on to your resources and your money and so on. So that might, you know, influence the decision you make about new directions or not. Yeah, I mean, this is what it is. I did draw another card to see if I could throw any light on, you know, that decision and, you know, that feeling of security versus new direction. And I came up with the Queen of Wands, which is a great card to have there. Again, creativity, Leo, who's lying at her feet. You know, she's this is represented by Penelope in mythology, who's the wife of Odysseus, who waits 20 years for him to come back from the Trojan Wars. She's has all the feminine virtues of loyalty, trust, steadfastness. Yeah, and she keeps the home fires burning. So, you know, she's a really lovely figure, but she's her own woman as well. She's not, you know, although she loves Odysseus, she does it on her own terms. So, you know, and she's also in the Suit of Wands, which is all about that new creative direction. So there you go, Leo. Maybe some big changes afoot, but, you know, use your head is the message, I think. Yeah, okay. Well, I hope that, you know, you've survived the lockdown and are keeping well and feeling positive about the future. If you like this reading, then please do leave a like or subscribe. And as I mentioned, I'm available for personal readings, if you'd like one online, please do leave me a message. So in the meantime, take good care of yourself. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.